Hello friends, welcome back to DigiTalk. In the previous session, we have seen how we can pull the pre-built images from the different registries like Docker Hub and Oracle Container Registry. Okay, and in this session, we will create our custom images using the base images. That means using the pre-built images, we will build our custom or extended images. Okay, and specifically in this session, we will pull the Apache image, and using Apache image we will build a custom or extended image, and where we will change the default index file with our own index file contents. Okay, so I will show you this all execution on the Linux machine. Okay, so let me first go back to my EC2 instance and let me start my machine. Okay, let me reload that one. Okay, so if you also want to perform all the exercise on EC2 instance of Amazon, that is a very straightforward. I have posted a video how to create a free account on for the AWS Amazon. Okay, and then after that I will shortly post a video on how to create a Linux machine, EC2 machine on the AWS. Okay, let me start my large machine. Okay, so it's successfully started. Okay, it will take couple of seconds to get IP address assigned, public IP address assigned to this machine. In between, let me show you the steps how we can do that one. So what we are going to do in this, we will pull an Apache image from the Docker Hub. This we have seen in the previous session as well, right? So once the image is pulled, we will run the container with the Apache. Okay, and then we'll access the default page of the Apache web server to make sure that our container is working fine with the default image. Once it is done, we will update the index.html file for the Apache web server. Okay, and then we will run a container again from the extended image. So why I'm saying it is an extended image, because we will update the index.html file with our own content, and then we will create a new image from the default pre-built image of the Apache. And this is how we work in the Docker containers. Whenever we do any kind of updates for a container, then we create the Docker file, and inside Docker file we write all the contents. Okay, and using that Docker file we build the new image, and then we start the containers. Okay, so what we are going to do in this exercise is, this is our Docker file where we will use the from syntax, and with from we will provide the httpd. It means we are taking the default pre-built image that we have pulled from the Docker registry, and then copy index.html file to the specified default location of the Apache web server, which is htdocs. Okay, so this will take the default pre-built image that we have pulled from Docker, and then it will copy the index.html file from our local system to the container, and then it will start the new container with our new index.html file. Okay, so we'll see that how we can perform that one. Okay, so let me go back and see. Okay, so my instance is running and the public IP is now assigned to my this EC2 machine. Okay, so let me copy this machine, and I'm going to use SSH tool, which is secure CRT in my case. Okay, so my IP is 3.1.1.3.7.1.1.7. Okay, and let me log into this machine. Okay, now I am logged into my Linux machine. Okay, so first let me check the status of Docker, which is command systemctl and then status and then Docker. It's not working. Let me see the syntax is correct or not. Okay, spelling is incorrect. Okay, now see, you can see that Docker status is active and running, right? So, and let me see the images that I have currently in my system. So sudo docker and then images. Okay, so these are the images that currently I have in my system. So I'm going to show you to pull the web server image, Apache web server image, and to customize it, right, with our index.html file. So to show you how to pull it again, okay, so let me delete this Apache web server image. For the deletion of the image, command is sudo docker rmi, and then you have to give the image id. Okay, and let me see the images again. So now you can see the httpd image is not there, right? I have deleted that one. Okay, so let us pull that image again, and then we will customize it. So what is the command for to pull? Is the same docker pull and then the name of your particular image. Okay, and this will pull the in your local repository. Okay, so let me run that command sudo docker pull and then httpd. So what is httpd? It is the name of the image which is already there in the Docker Hub registry. So it will pull this image from the Docker Hub registry. Okay, so the tag is the latest. It is pulling the latest httpd image file. So now it has pulled the httpd web server, Apache web server image from the Docker Hub. Okay, and let me see the status again. Okay, you can see this, it is there, right? httpd is there, right? So now we have our base image. Okay, and to run it, the Apache from the base image, okay, the command for that is this is sudo docker run -p 8080:80 and httpd. Okay, there is a syntax for the docker command when we run the containers. In detail we will cover in the docker container session what are the different options when we run the docker command or when we run the containers. Okay, so as of now you can see that whenever we have to run the container, we have to give the command run with the container docker. Okay, and after that we have to specify the port. Okay, so because this service is running inside the container, okay, so to get the access of inside the container where the service is running on some port, we have to map a corresponding port of the local host. What does it mean? By default Apache web server is run on the 80. That means inside the container my web server is running on port 80, right? So to access it from the outside of the container, we have to write a port which will map to the port which is there inside in which your service is running. So what I have given 8080, which is the port that I would like to access the Apache web server services. Okay, and this will map to the port 80 of the Apache web server which is running inside the container and the name of your image. So this is the basic command to run a container. Okay, so now you can see our Apache web server is running. Okay, and to validate it whether it is working or not, okay, let us try to access it from the console. Okay, to access what is the syntax for that? We just give the IP address colon the port. Okay, and then we get the default page of the web server, right? This is a traditional way to access that, right? So let me access that one. So for that I have to take the public DNS of my EC2 machine. Okay, and let me access it. Okay, so this is the public DNS of my machine which we act as a local host as well when we install the Apache web server in our local machine, and then the port that we have mapped to the 80 is 8080, right? So now you can see that it works. This is the default index page of Apache web server. Sorry, so default http d index.html page, it works. Okay, this is the default content of that one, right? So now what we will do is we will do the customization. We will replace this message with our own message, and then we will build a new image, and then we'll see it is working or not, right? So now here you can see on the screen we are at the prompt. Okay, it is not exited, right, when we run the docker command, right? So that means if I will press the control C here, okay, that means my server is down, my container is down, so container is not running. Okay, so to run a container always in the background, we have to write -d argument with this command, okay, which is the detach mode. Okay, and the command is this. Similarly, we have given the -p, we have to give -d just after the run. Okay, this is a detach mode. That means it will detach your command to the prompt, and then the services or the container will be running in the background. Okay, so let me show you that as well. So if I put sudo docker and es-a is the command, okay, to check the different containers and their status. Okay, so I have some different containers as well, but when we talk about the status of my httpd image web server, it is exited, right? That means it is not running as of now. Okay, so I will create another container. running container where I will run in the background with the -d detach mode. Okay, so let me, before that one, let me delete that container. Okay, so sudo docker rm and then container id. Okay, so my container id for httpd is this one. So sorry, I have given the space there. Okay, so this is sudo docker rm and the container id. Now if you see ps-a again, you will not see the http container because I have deleted that particular container. Okay, so the command for deleting a container image is rm command, and when we have deleted the image, for deletion of image we have given the rmi. Right, so now let us run this container again. Okay, but this time we will put -d in the detach mode. Now you can say we are at the prompt, right, and the services or the container is running in the background. Okay, and now if you wanted to check the logs, okay, so for log checking the logs, we have a separate command for that one, but for that we have to check the name of your container. Okay, for check the name of your container, again you can run the command sudo ps-a. At the last of your services you will see the name of container. This is the name of container, so we haven't specified any name when we ran the container, so it has given the default name, okay, to the container. If you wanted to give your own name to your container, then when you run this command, okay, then you can specify --name equal to and the name for your container. Okay, so this will give a meaningful name to your container which you will specify. Right, so now we have the container running, okay, which you can see status up 16 seconds, right? And now if I will go again back and then again I try to check my status of my web server. Okay, let me give this one. So the status working, right? But that means my Apache is working, it works. Okay, so that means we have pulled the Apache web server image from the Docker hub. After that we have started the container with the default web server. Okay, and then we are able to access the default page of the http web server, right, so far. So now what we are going to do is we will create, or we will modify the index.html file, and then we will create a new image, okay, uh, for the extended image demo. Right, so for that one you have two options, like if you can create your own index html file and then copy that to inside the container. Other option is if you want to go to inside the container and take that file in from index.html file from the container to your local system and then modify and then create the image. This is depend how you customize your files. Okay, so just to show you the command to navigate inside the container as well. Okay, so this is the command if you wanted to go inside the container. This is sudo docker exec-it and then the name of your container. Okay, so let me show you how to navigate inside the container. So my container name here for the httpd is this one, cool_aryabhat, right, and then let's the command. Okay, this says I have copied from the Windows, so let me make it -it. It's not working. Let me see what is the problem here. Okay, all right, after that you have to give sudo docker exe-it and then your container name, and then you have to give the shell as well, in which shell you wanted to go. Okay, I have given the sh shell, right? So now you can say that you are at the hash prompt. That means you are now inside the container. Okay, so by default you are in the user local Apache directory. What we have done since with this command, we have moved inside the container directory from the local directory. Okay, now what we need is we need to copy the index.html file from your Apache directory to your local file system, local host, right? So for that the command is docker and cp. Okay, docker cp and the complete path of the file which is there inside the Docker. The syntax is you have to give the name of your container colon and the complete path along with the file name, and then dot. In this sense you want to copy it in your local file system. Okay, so this is to copy the file from Docker to your current local host system. Okay, so this is the command that I have shown you how you can go inside your Docker. To come out from that, you can just give the command exit, and after that you can see now you again on the local host system, right? So that was the way how you can navigate inside the container. Now if you want to copy the file, from your container to your local host, suppose index.html, which we are going to modify. Okay, so for that you have the command sudo docker and then cp is the command for that one, and then you have to specify the name of your container, right, and then colon, then complete path along with the file name. So this is the default path of your index.html file for the web server, Apache web server. So let me copy it. Is user local apache 2 htdocs index.html, and then I'll specify dot. So that means it will copy the index.html file from the container to my local file system. You can see that successfully copied. If you see the listing here, okay, you will see the file index.html, right? And if I do the vi of index.html file, so what is the content? It works, right? This is the content which was displaying over the web browser as well, right? So this was the default content, right? So let me replace this content now with the new contents. Okay, so new content could be anything, whatever you want, and let me copy this one, and this is a customized Apache web server container. Okay, and let me save it, and let me revalidate if the content are there. Okay, index are okay. Now the new contents are there. So now what we want is we want to copy this content from local inside the container, right? We want to replace it with the file which is there inside the container. Okay, but we will do this by creating a new image, right? So for new image, what we will run the command, we will create a file, Dockerfile, right? This is the Dockerfile with the name of Dockerfile. Okay, so let me create that one, vi, then Dockerfile. Okay, inside that we will write from httpd and then the copy command. Let me copy it again. This is from and then copy. Okay, so from means it will take the base image as httpd, and then it will copy the index.html file from my current directory inside the htdocs of the Apache web server, and then it will build the new image. So let me verify the content of that file. Right, this is there. Right, now to build a new Docker image, the command is sudo docker build -t and then custom httpd dot. Okay, so to sudo docker is the standard command, build is the standard command to build your new image, with -t is a tag. Okay, and then this is the name of your new image, dot, that means it will look for the docker file inside the current directory. Okay, if you will not specify the dot, then you have to specify the docker file name with the -f command that we will see in the later sessions, right? So now let me see the images again. Okay, so now you can see the custom image is also there, right? So now we will start the container using this custom image. Okay, but prior to that, let me stop my previous container. So for that I will write sudo docker ps-a, right? So this was the container which was running, right? So let me stop it, sudo docker stop and the container name. Okay, so stop is the command that we use to stop the container. So that means sudo docker stop will stop the container with this particular name. Now it is stopped, right? And now we will run the docker container again using the custom image that we have built. Okay, so what we have the command given, sudo docker run -d for detach mode -v, again the same port redirection, and this time we have given the name of our new image. Earlier we have given the httpd, right? So now we have a custom image, so we have given the name of custom image, which is custom httpd. Okay, and now if you wanted to check the status of that one, so you can run sudo docker ps-a, right? So now you can say this is the custom image and this is running in the foreground. This is the command, and then it is up and running, and this is the name now it got for this particular container. Okay, romantic_wilson. So now let us see that if the new contents are visible or not. That means our custom file is updated there or not in the inside new image. Okay. Okay, so it is not working, because for that may I have to delete the cache of my browser. Okay, let me clear the cache. It is clear now, and now we can read it again. Now see, this is a customized Apache web server container. Okay, so this is the same message that we have written inside the new index file, right? So what we have done here, let me recap that one. Initially we have pulled the default httpd image from the Docker. Okay, and then we have validated that image. After that we have run a container with that default image, and we have accessed the default page to make sure that it is working fine. And after that, what we have done, we have seen few commands to run the Docker container in the detach mode, right? And then we have seen a command to how to navigate inside the container. Okay, and then we have copied one of the file, which is index.html file, inside the container to our local host. We have modified that file with the new content, and then we have built a new image using the Docker file, where we have written from as httpd. That means to take the base image httpd to build a new image. Then we return the copy command to copy the index.html file inside the htdocs, right? And then we have built the new image, and then we have started the container, and then we have validated that it is working fine. So this is the way how we customize the containers, how we can create the extended images. So here, just for example, I have updated the index.html file, right? So if you have your website which is running on Apache web server, for that you have a lot of customizations, lot of files, a lot of video files, HTML files, static files, right? Code that you need to copy inside your Apache web server. So for that you can write the code accordingly here in the Docker file, and once you will build the image, it will automatically run all the command inside the new image, and then you can run your Docker container with the new image. Thanks for watching this video.